Hey guys, it's Elise and welcome back to My Cupcake Addiction. On today's episode, we're talking candy. Not actual candy, chocolate candy. So I'm going to be showing you how to make a giant Reese's peanut butter cup. It's not so giant that you couldn't eat it all by yourself, but it's probably so giant that you shouldn't eat it all by yourself. I'm not going to judge either way. Let's get started on today's giant peanut butter cup recipe. As always, I'm going to leave all of your quantities for your ingredients in the description box below. And for your equipment today, I've got an offset spatula, a spoon, and a clean ruler. And I'm using a non-stick metal tart or quiche pan. Mine's got a removable base in it. You can also use a silicone pan for this, which is a little bit easier, but they're not as widely available. I've got a little bit of sifted icing sugar, which is also known as confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar, some smooth peanut butter, some salted butter, and some melted milk chocolate. I've got a large mixing bowl, and you can use a wooden spoon here, but to save my arms, I've got an electric mixer and also a little bit of baking paper. So first up, we need to line the base of our tin. So like I said, mine's removable, and I'm just going to place a piece of baking paper over it, flip it over, and then just fold that in so that I'm kind of making a nice neat circle. I don't recommend cutting a circle of baking paper if you're using the ones with a removable base, because the chocolate tends to move around. If your tart tin doesn't have a removable base, then yes, just cut a circle of baking paper, and if you're using a silicone mold, you need nothing at all. Once it's lined, you want to scoop in a generous amount of that milk chocolate, and I'm going to leave my recommended quantities down below. It's important here that your chocolate layer is not too thin. So I'm just using the back of a spoon just to even it out and to scoop it up the sides of my little tart tin. As you can see, I'm making sure that I get it not too thin on the sides, not too thick in the corners, and relatively even on the bottom. Take that now and pop it off into the fridge to completely set, and while that's setting, we can make our peanut butter filling. Place all of your powdered sugar into a large mixing bowl, and then you want to scoop in all of your peanut butter. I used a spatula just to make sure that I didn't waste any of it. And then you also want to add your butter. So your butter should be really, really nice and soft, or even a little bit melted is fine here. You can use a wooden spoon, but like I said, I like to save my arms a little bit. So I'm going to use the electric mixer. Start it on a really low speed, or you're going to end up with a bit of a dust storm. Once it's mixed through a little bit, you can turn that speed up to about a medium, and you want to mix them till they're just nicely combined. This mixture is supposed to be a little bit thick and lumpy looking in the bowl, but once we sort of knead it and squish it down, it will perfectly resemble a smooth peanut butter cup inside. Take your chocolate base out of the fridge now, and because we've used that little base, it should really, really easily come out of that non-stick case. Be really gentle with it here, and if you find that any of your chocolates kind of overlapped that baking paper, just use a knife to kind of take away any major excess, and you should just be able to kind of just jiggle it away from the edges. It should pop out quite nicely. You can use another knife just to trim off any excess so you've got a really nice, neat, flat base on your peanut butter cup. Now, because your chocolate shell is going to be quite fragile, you want to take your peanut butter mixture, because we really need to firmly press this down. So you can see here when you squeeze it, it's quite firm, almost like a cookie dough or a fondant. So you want to put all of your peanut butter mixture into your empty tart pan now. And this is where the non-stick is slightly better than the silicone, because it's got a bit more structure. So I'm using a lot of pressure and a lot of weight to just really push that peanut butter filling down into the same shape as the tart pan. Once that's pushed down, you want to pop it out of the tart pan, and then you can use a knife just to scrape around the edges, because you don't want it to be exactly the same size as your case. You want it to be ever so slightly smaller. So I'm just using the line of that non-stick base just to really run my knife around, so I end up with like a nice disc of peanut butter filling. Use your offset spatula or even your ruler here just to remove that disc of peanut butter, because it'll be a bit stuck to that tray base. And then you want to clean your tart pan out, and you want to place the chocolate shell back into the pan for additional support. Take your disc of peanut butter deliciousness, place it straight into your base, and it should fit pretty perfectly, and just press it down around the edges. You want to leave a gap of about 1/2 centimetre above the line of where that peanut butter disc finishes and the top of your tart mold. Pour over the rest of your melted milk chocolate, and you're better off to have a little bit too much here than a little bit too little, because we want it to really nicely fill our tart tray. And just distribute it around and kind of push it into any gaps along the side using the back of your spoon. Try to make sure that your chocolate here is melted but not hot. I'm going to use a ruler, kind of like if I was laying fresh cement. So first I'm just distributing that chocolate so that it's relatively even over the top of my little tart case. And then I'm going to do one final sweep to make sure I've got a beautiful smooth top to my Reese's peanut butter cup. Pop that one back in the fridge to set, but before you want to serve it, this can just sit at room temperature, so it doesn't need to be refrigerated, and you don't really want it refrigerated, or it's going to be impossible to cut into or to bite through. There you've got your gorgeous giant Reese's peanut butter candy cup. I hope you guys have loved this idea. For more amazing sweets, baking ideas, recipes, and crazy cool things you can make for your friends and family, make sure you check out my YouTube channel, My Cupcake Addiction. Subscribe for 2 new videos every week. And as always, thanks very much for watching.